free. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Hiring freezes, Pennsylvania news, a lot of Pennsylvania news, quite frankly, as it was swearing-in day here in Pennsylvania. So Dave Sunday, we have Stacey Garrity. We'll talk about that with my friend Terry Tracy, Broad and Liberty. You always learn something when you have a conversation with Terry. He's so smart. He's on top of all of it. And by the way, he was in D.C. for all the inaugural pomp and circumstance over the weekend, and then last night right there front and center as we think about GOP now controlling these three critical state offices. So how does that impact all of us? Hey everybody, Dawn Stensland, glad you're here. Thanks for being here on this frigid day. We'll see 50 degrees by next Wednesday, I think 40 by Sunday. Keep warm, all the cold weather warnings are in effect. I want to revisit this story that we talked about yesterday. Great job, Dan Borowski. All day I was trying to get a hold of somebody, a mutual contact, to try to see if Zachary Rehl, who's our local guy, our Philadelphia guy, who was released in the wee hours of the morning yesterday. And so we got him. We were the first. It was an exclusive, and his first interview as he is being welcomed home by his wife, his daughters, his entire family. United States Marines served honorably, as well as the son and grandson of Philadelphia police. And so now we have, in the case of Zach Rehl, his sentence, one of the 14-ish commuted by the president, 1,500 pardons with J6ers. Zach Rehl spent nearly 6 weeks shy of 4 years incarcerated. 4 years. He never made bond. They would not let him out from his March arrest right after the J6 situation. And so he's one of those now who's out. He's free. We talked to him. But now today we have the largest police organization in the United States. You know, the FOP, locally, nationally, statewide, they have backed Trump. They've had his back. And we know that law enforcement in general, especially after the defund the police movement. Remember the summer of 2020 here in Philadelphia, how many officers were injured? I mean, just in the last month of that summer, at least 14 that I know of, and some of them severely injured, some of them still recovering from their injuries, right? They don't talk about that one. Joe Bologna, who was assaulted, he's the one who's been persecuted, quite frankly. But now we have the FOP speaking out saying, maybe President Trump, in his signing of the pardons and so on, did he go too far? Saying that crimes against law enforcement are not just attacks on individuals or public safety. And I'm quoting here with the FOP and International Association of Chiefs of Police, the IACP, in their joint statement. But they're saying that these kinds of attacks on law enforcement are attacks on all of society and undermine the rule of law. And so for those of you, especially in law enforcement, current or retired, your reaction to this, as many of the polls are saying that Americans are conflicted. On one hand, the J6ers, it feels like overreach. I mean, some people literally walked into the Capitol, and clearly that was a persecution case. But for those who were then, they threw the book at them, and they've been in prison for the entire time. Should they still be in prison, or should that be a review? Do you know what I'm saying? Was it overreach to do this wide brushstroke, if you will? That's my question to you. 855-839-1210. Should Trump have taken a more cautious approach with anybody accused of in any way harming law enforcement that day? Because we do know there's that civil lawsuit by, I don't know, half a dozen or more. I've reported on this with Capitol police officers who suffered injuries. And then let's not forget in New Jersey, the family of Officer Sicknick, who he passed away tragically the next day. He had a stroke, I believe. Initially, they had said that his cause of death was natural causes, but they said the stress of the day before perhaps was a contributing cause, and his family obviously grieving. So I know that, for those of us, we're the law and order party, are we not? And so how do we navigate through this situation? As far as me personally, when I've covered the story, and you know this, if you've listened, as far as Zachary, he was never charged, never convicted ever on anything remotely having to do with, quote unquote, any violence against anybody. And coming, obviously, son and grandson of law enforcement here in Philadelphia, as well serving in the United States Marines. And you know that when he was incarcerated, since March of 2021, never got out of prison until yesterday morning. And then we interviewed him within 8-9 hours of his release, and within hours of him being home. But he never has advocated or would advocate injuring law enforcement, even though there were those who claimed that there was a video where he was in a crowd apparently, and where they were spraying some kind of pepper spray or something, but he was never charged with that. I would say, this is my take on that first and foremost, he was never charged because they never had enough evidence to charge him or convict him on that. That's my take on that. But that was indeed, there was some video that came up late. His attorneys immediately moved for a mistrial because that was evidence that they weren't even privy to. That's a rule breaker. My understanding on the bigger issue of this is that it has to do with a case that we've talked a whole lot about. And that was the case involving actually a Pennsylvania policeman who was arrested and freed. He was the one in that, remember, they were using the Enron law. Remember the Enron company? And this was the company that bamboozled people, if you will. If you remember the Enron story, financial company, and they were hiding all of this type of evidence. The biggity bigs got away with it. And remember, there were so many unions who invested in Enron for teachers and cops and judges across the nation. They lost everything. It was really a horrible case. And so after that, as a result of what Enron did, that real scam and scandal, they made it a law that you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to hide these things and hide this kind of evidence. It was a financial case. So there have been many who have said that these federal prosecutors, in hoping to throw the book at these J6ers, they were trying to find some federal statute such that they could throw these J6ers in jail for the rest of their lives. And that's what they wanted to do with Zach Reel, a guy at that point, he was in his early 30s, wife, 2 young kids, daughters, and the prosecutors wanted to put him away for life. That's what you heard Zach say. And even the judge in the case, and here's what also is convincing. Judge Kelly, if you look at the case, even in the court, stated that in sentencing, he knew that he would take heat for the fact that he would not give Zach Reel, he would not put him away for the rest of his life. He did not believe that Zach Reel in any way wanted to hurt anybody and did not want to incite this kind of terrorist action that the prosecutors were claiming. And so that's why he gave him the minimum he could, which was 15, less than half of what the prosecutors wanted. That also tells me a lot. The fact that a federal judge in D.C. did everything he felt he could within his power to give the very least of a sentence that he could. That also says something to me, but I wanted to get your take. 855-839-1210.
You got Andy in Glassboro who wants to give his take.
Hey there.
Good morning.
Good morning, Andy.
Dawn. When I hear the term insurrectionists, I don't understand the difference between an insurrectionist and a protester. When these people walked into the Capitol, that was one thing. When you raise your hand against a policeman, that's something else. But is that a protester or is that an insurrectionist? When you were protesting, supposedly, but not an insurrectionist, as part of the Black Lives Matter movement, you could do whatever you wanted. These people were released. And then when it was posed to them, well, they were protesting an injustice. Well, that's exactly what these people felt going into the Capitol. I didn't stand with them, but I don't understand why you persecute these people that went into the Capitol, and you let the people go that did a lot more damage, that hurt a lot more people than the protesters on January 6th. I don't understand it. Now, that is why I believe Trump is letting them go, because of the inconsistency in the law. He knows there was some problems there, but he's letting them go for that reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement with you, but I know that a lot of people are conflicted on this, and that's why Andy, thank you so much. That was brilliant, because I think Andy's right. And I think this was a case where and that was the SCOTUS ruling. It was late. If you remember this, I looked it up. It was June 28th when the Supreme Court of the United States, when they threw that out. And it was because, and it was a Pennsylvania cop, but it was because essentially the prosecutors were looking for some kind of a statute that carried a lot of time and had a lot of gravitas, basically. So they were like throwing the book at people, but it was finding a law first and then trying to fit it in. Do you know what I'm saying? Fitting it in to persecute people based on a political situation, and they've not been consistent. So I think for Trump, the reason that then they said let them out was because of A, the Supreme Court ruling, which said that was illegal, number one, and number two, because of what we now know, that in fact there's missing evidence. And now I know that that's being disputed, but reportedly there's missing evidence on all of this. Dan, I know you're looking for this video.
Yeah.
So what's your take?
Nothing
What have you
yet.
got?
I'm
Nothing
still,
yet. Okay.
still getting it on there for you, but hopefully after the break we might have some of that. It's the New York Times. They did a investigation looking through all the footage and kind of stitched together a story of how the Proud Boys were involved and Zach Reel, and we'll get to it. We'll get to it after the break.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I'll just say, I wish the New York Times would, because they have a lot of resources and a lot of money. I wish they did one of their investigations to find the missing children, 300,000 plus children missing in America who are believed to be, by officials, right now as we speak, being human trafficked with these sicko pedophiles abusing them multiple times a day. It makes me nauseous. I wish they would do that as part of their investigation. But see, isn't it funny that the investigations that they do, these so-called journalists, but we see our government and we see these elite ivory tower individuals, right, in organizations. Who do they go after? Trump supporters. And to me, that's what this is about. And what did we see with the J6ers? J6ers, even those accused of who confessed to assaulting or pepper spraying or bear spraying cops, if they got down on their knees and said, "I hate Trump and I was bamboozled and I was on medication and I hate Trump," did you notice what happened? They got out. As long as they pleaded out, boom, they were out. Did you notice that? But for those who never did that, then they were the ones who were held behind bars for years. I'm just pointing that out to you. But I understand the controversy, but I just wanted to point out to you it was a 6-3 decision from the Supreme Court that came out after that former Pennsylvania police officer was charged for his alleged participation there in the U.S. Capitol attack, and they threw that out. It was an obstruction charge. So that was the main charge that people like Zachary Reel were imprisoned on. That allowed those prosecutors to say, "Young man, you are going away for the rest of your life." Man, they wanted to break these men. They wanted to let them sit in jail. They denied their due process rights. And according to their attorneys to this day say there were many grounds for a mistrial, that they were denied the proper evidence, and that evidence was destroyed. We'll get to all of it and your thoughts, 855-839-1210. A lot of breaking news I want to get to, too. Be right back.
Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly, and it's 100% free to you if you are on Medicaid. Call 267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
How many times will you risk that dangerous climb in and out of the bathtub this year? It's a smart resolution to convert that unsafe, ugly old bathtub to a gorgeous new shower. The jacuzzi shower system from PJ Fitzpatrick features a low entry. That means no more tub hopping for 2025. The jacuzzi shower is luxurious, affordable, and it all installs in just one day. Plus, PJ Fitzpatrick will include a free designer safety package this month. Visit trustpj.com for your free design consultation.
Do you know your numbers? What numbers? Your heart health numbers, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, and your body mass index. They're important, so ask your doctor. Learn your numbers, and if something doesn't seem right with them, see a Deborah specialist at one of our offices throughout South Jersey. After all, when it's your heart, you don't take chances. Find a specialist near you at demanddeborah.org.
Hi, I'm Mike Veneria Jr. with Prosperity Private Wealth. No matter your occupation, whether you work for a big company or you're a small business owner, everyone wants to keep as much of their earnings as possible. I specialize in tax minimization strategies and retirement planning that'll help you build a strong financial future for you and your future generations. Call me, Mike Veneria Jr. at 856-252-0107.
Securities through Sanctuary Securities, Inc., member FINRA SIPC, advisory services through Sanctuary Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Local news can come at you fast. Want the latest on what's happening in your backyard? Download the free Odyssey app. Follow your local news station, and you'll get alerts on the top stories making headlines in your city. You can stay in the know, no matter what you're up to, and be among the first to find out when news breaks. Plus, keep tabs on weather and traffic, so you're never caught off guard. To get started, download the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY, and follow your local news station.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090. Let King Shooter Supply in King of Prussia help protect you and your family. King Shooter Supply has over 200 years of combined firearms experience to help you get what you need to protect what you love. They gladly welcome beginners into their family of competitive shooters, recreational shooters, law enforcement professionals, and hunters. They'll guide you through the nuances of finding the right firearm, ammunition, and accessories that you need for self-defense. Visit them at 346 East Church Road in King of Prussia. Visit them on Facebook or at kingshooters.com.
Free speech lives here on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.
Here. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, I put on there, am I following you on Twitter? Because if you're on YouTube, I'll follow you. But then John wrote, don't follow me, I'm lost. You're not lost. You're not lost. You are found. We have found you, my friend.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Nice turn there. I like that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So there's so
Beautifully done there, Dawn.
So Philadelphia City Council, the Philadelphia News right now, Philadelphia is trying to figure out what to do about the birthright citizenship issue. They're trying to, and I just think they're all, have we heard Sherelle Parker speaking out about this specifically yet? She's been curiously quiet, hasn't she?
She has.
Because if you think about, for example, other mayors like New York, it's a show me the money moment, right? Because see, if I'm Sherelle Parker, I'm thinking, okay, if I come out and say, President Trump, you know what? You fixed our schools. You show me the money. You help us reinvest in the city. You help us fix our schools. We want to do full cooperation. But I need the cash.
I did get some audio, Dawn.
Yeah?
Let me hear you all say.
Oh, stop.
ELGSES, Eagles!
See, all morning they were playing this, and and I was like, oh gosh, if Dan hears this, I know I'm going to hear it because our friend Anne Marie, sent you that video of me. But I was like standing on a rock, Isle of Capri. We might have had a little wine for lunch, and it's embarrassing, but I did pull a Sherelle. Happens to the best of us. So I'm not throwing, what's the old saying? I'm not throwing any rocks, people in glass houses, because I admit I had a misspelling, which is so embarrassing, but I can laugh at myself. Yes.
I just pulled it up to do comparison's sake. YouTube.com/@12WPHT. First, we have the mayor of Philadelphia, Sherelle Parker.
Let's go, Bird!
Oh, that wasn't good.
Let me hear you all say, ELGSES, Eagles! Let's go,
And
Bird!
now we have Dawn Stensland.
EAGLE! Wait, I
There's Anne Marie.
Yours is better, at least. I
So,
gotta say. Yeah.
Happens to the best of us. I'm just saying. Look at her. She's all cute in her Kelly green.
Do you want to try again?
Yeah, go ahead.
You want to give me an Eagles chant?
EAGLES. Eagles!
There it is.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Redeemed. You're
on
redeemed.
the road to victory. No, you're not gonna get the song out of your head now. Eagles fly on the road to victory. Woo! EAGLES.
Let me hear you all say,
Stop.
ELGSES, Eagles! Let's go, Bird!
It was cute. It's cute.
Oh, it's great.
But she hasn't spoken out yet, to my knowledge, about the specific issue or in reaction to Trump's executive orders. Her administration has spoken out, and they said basically the laws stand or something, some kind of a generic little statement. So we'll see what City Hall does today. But I find it's all about the money. Remember, it was all about the money. We learned later from, Bob Brady, from others, that they were not happy and felt disrespected by the Kamala people. And even Joe Biden, he was here like a gazillion times. What money? Come on. You know what I mean? Like, if you're coming here constantly saying, I need your vote, usually you say, bring you a little housewarming gift.
Right?
And meantime, he's giving like a gazillion dollars every other day to Ukraine. Huh?
I said, build us a park, Joe.
Yeah, something. So
You're so right. I never thought about that, but yeah.
You have to come, even the wise men, what did they do? They come bearing gifts, right? We want to see the gifts. Philadelphia, show me the money, baby. I'm just saying, I'm telling you, Trump, can you imagine the love monetarily he would show us? If they just said, look, we want to get the cartels out of the city. Think about what we're talking about, Dan, today. As these new wellness centers are opening, I know a lot of you're going to have opinions about this, 855-839-1210. You're going to have opinions about the new Holmesburg, right? The drug rehab center and the wellness court that opens now. And basically, the police are going to give you a citation. You have a choice as they pick you up off the streets of Kensington, because you're not allowed to be there. You're not allowed to have this open drug market situation. So you're going to have a choice. You want to go to jail, or do you want to go to wellness court? It's kind of like Eagles Court. You know what I mean? Remember Judge Seamus McCaffrey? Seriously, it's kind of reminding me of that. Do you want to go to jail, or you want to go to Eagles Court? And you have to go in front of Judge Seamus. I think we need a judge like a Judge Seamus, Judge McCaffrey, type. Somebody who's wise but kind, but throwing the book at people who deserve it. I'm just saying. Hey, at least she's trying something different. I know they're going to go, why is she always giving Sherelle the benefit of the doubt? Well, because she's way better than the Prosecco-loving individual we had last time, and she's trying some new things. I'll give credit where credit's due.
Let me hear you all say,
oh, stop. What is it about us as when we go somewhere, like you have to do it, like you have to do the Eagles chant? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what is that about us?
Or say go birds.
You have to get go birds. E-A-G, right? You have to, if you go like somewhere else outside of Philadelphia, especially to another country, it's like you have to. I don't know what that is. Why do we have to do that?
I think you had it right, too. You just doubted yourself.
I did, but I think because because we had a obviously huge group of Philadelphia fans, right? And everywhere you go, we're somewhere in, we'll be next spring in Cinque Terre, and there will be people with Eagles hats on. It's the coolest thing ever. And we have that camaraderie together.
Hey, you have one of your wise men on the line right now.
One of my wise men.
One of your wise men, Ed Delran.
Ed Delran.
I don't know if we want to. Does he have a rhyme about January 6th? Is that what's going on here?
J6 rhyme? Oh, gee.
Yeah, I have a rhyme for you, Dawn. It may be cold, but you're still beautiful and bold, and the truth always gets told.
Ed, we love you.
Oh, what a poet.
He's a poet.
Hey, I got to show it because I know it. But let me tell you something. As far as these J6ers go, there's deals made in courts all across America every day. If the people were nonviolent and they did nothing more than walk in, they don't deserve to be in jail for years and years.
Yeah, that's just it. And Trump did say that even for those who were accused and or convicted, or confess that they sprayed or they did this and that, they apologized in court, but they spent 4 years behind bars. How many?
I think that's more than sufficient at this point.
I mean, I don't even know the answer to this as far as what that would normally be. Not that you should ever condone it, but I will say this. Here in Philadelphia, with those 14-plus officers injured just the summer of 2020, some of them severely needed rehab for many months or years. And I don't recall, do you recall, Dan, or Ed, do you guys recall people who went to prison here in Philadelphia? Because as I recall, the cops were the ones who ended up, they were the ones who ended up being persecuted. And then remember those protesters who injured officers started the SUV police marked cruiser on fire on the Vine. Remember this? On 676.
Yes. And let me tell you,
and they got money.
Unbelievable. The double standard is glaring and alive and well in this country. It's pathetic.
And that's just it. It's just persecution. And it's not even persecution because of the fact that these people went to the Capitol and did that or whatever. It's because they're Trump supporters. That's the piece of it.
Exactly right.
If you're Biden supporters, if you're Democrats, I don't know. It just feels like, no, that never happened to anybody before.
Hey, it's just so unbelievable, the behavior of the judicial system in this country. It is very flawed at times and very screwed up because, let me tell you something, murderers get freaking convictions and downgraded charges all the time. I mean, there's so much wrong. It's unreal.
Well, we need to make it all right. But if you're in law enforcement, we respect you. We appreciate your service. And no one should ever threaten you, harm you. So I know some of the women who were with us on Monday at the NAC, at the Newtown Athletic Club, are widows whose police officer or law enforcement husbands were murdered in the line of duty. And as well, one of my friends, her son was a Philadelphia cop, severely injured during that summer of 2020 here in Philadelphia. And I don't think those individuals went to jail at all. 855-839-1210. We'll be right back. You know, my friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles, featuring the very latest luxury vehicles from today's top brands. I'm talking about Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Land Rover, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and more. These models have such sleek new designs as well as innovative features, and they're powered by the very latest in technology. You know, right now, Piazza, they have thousands of new as well as certified pre-owned vehicles. They're available right now across their Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware dealerships. Piazza Premium Automobiles stands out. I hope you check them out. PiazzaAutos.com. That's PiazzaPremiumAutos.com, PIAZZA PremiumAutos.com. Make sure you tell them Dawn sent you.
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules.
Tune in to Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Phil Cannella and Joanne Small. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Helping your inner circle prepare for emergencies can start in many ways. Put together an emergency kit with Wipewall. Create a family communication plan with your tita. Remind Bai to keep a backup battery charged. It all starts with a simple step, telling those you care about to be ready for the worst. So start a conversation and plan for emergencies together. Get more tips at ready.gov/start. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you ready for retirement? Have you prepared everything you need? Well, in Investor Schooling, we will teach you ways to better prepare for your retirement using real estate and the stock market. But you need to learn how to do it right, and that's what we teach. At Investor Schooling, we sell nothing but education. Come to Investor Schooling and learn how to have a better retirement. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now for this Thursday's class at 7 o'clock. Go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you could even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, Hims can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
village and every hamlet. And when we let freedom ring, we will be able to speed up that day where all of your children, black men and white men, Protestant and Catholic, Jew and Gentile, will be able to sing in the meaning of that old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank you, God Almighty. We are free at last. If you believe where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Come on, put your hands together and give your great God great glory.
Yes, now that's a prayer. As we think about Pastor Lorenzo Sewell, you may have seen him on the campaign trail, but if you didn't, my goodness, we saw him, we heard him, yes, during President Donald J. Trump's
So out of the
inaugural.
neck, I heard there was a standing ovation.
There was.
It
Standing
was?
ovation.
Wow.
After this beautiful prayer that, of course, had a celebration really for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and this was a wonderful tribute, obviously, on the federal holiday that commemorates and celebrates our greatest civil rights leader here in America. So I'm just honored for the fact that Pastor Sewell is joining us to let us know, Pastor, thank you for being here. We want to hear from you and how it all began, as far as I know that you're a Detroit pastor, and how you ended up meeting President Trump, how that relationship started.
I am so Holy Ghost happy to be here with you this morning.
Oh, thank you. So
thank you for having me.
Oh, well, I just feel blessed that you're here, and I love Holy Ghost happy. I love that term. But you, first and foremost, it was important for you, I think, Pastor, to have a unifying prayer and tribute on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So how did that all come about for you? Can you kind of share the backstory with us?
Can you believe it? I was born and raised on the east side of Detroit, mentored by murderers, student of the streets. My dad is in prison for murder today. Can you imagine President Donald J. Trump coming to the hood? Now there's the hood, and then there's the hood, right? I mean, you have women being openly human trafficked. You have a methadone clinic where people are getting federally funded heroin. You have people that can't read, write, do math. Detroit is 50% functionally illiterate in terms of its adult population. Its children, our students, are about 80% functionally illiterate, not reading at grade level. Can you imagine it? The poverty level. Over 100,000 homes we've lost in the last 10 years in the city of Detroit. I mean, I just want you to picture that it was voted the most unsafe place to live, the neediest place in 2022, Detroit, Michigan. And President Donald Trump, he came. Did you know that a Republican hadn't come since Reagan? Do you know that a Republican hadn't come to Detroit since Reagan? I thought it was a joke. I thought it was Ashton Kutcher playing I'm Punked on You. I really did. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I was, as a matter of fact, when they told me his campaign team called me, it was on a Thursday. They sent the paperwork over on a Friday. I didn't even look at it. I signed it. I didn't even care what it said. I just signed it because I thought it was a joke. I just sent it back. I'm like, yeah, right, there's no way. Well, lo and behold, he comes. And when he came, he was so genuine. He did a round table. He didn't speak to us. He listened to us, and then he made a promise to me, and I have it all captured. He said to me, at the inauguration, you'll be there. Can you imagine that? And then I preached at the RNC, as perhaps you know. I preached on the day that he received his nomination. I preached at the RNC. And then 3 weeks ago, I was on my way to my good friend Charlie Kirk's event, and my son was with me. And when we landed in Arizona, I took my phone off of airplane mode, and I had a plethora of messages from the Trump team that encapsulated, call me, it had an urgency to it. So the Trump team said to me, what are you doing on January 20th? I said, let me check my schedule. And then I saw that was Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. So I asked the good Lord, how would he have me pray? And he said, why don't you pray the dream? I said, how do I do that? He said, I'll show you. And that's what happened on Monday. The good Lord allowed me, by his grace, to talk to him and to use Dr. King's dream as the very content and the context of an inauguration. It was awesome.
It was. You were great. As I say, we were at a huge venue, and everybody just stood up and gave you a standing ovation. But I just want to ask you what the reaction has been since, because there's always a saying. Obviously you're someone who committed your life to serving Jesus Christ and reaching out to the community. This was an opportunity for you to witness to people who maybe are hurting, maybe they're post-pandemic. We hear about the mental health crisis, people who have not heard the message. And what has been your reaction?
This moment, God has used politics as a debate to catch fish all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
He has used it. Literally, we've had people come from all over the world to our church. We've had people get in the cars and literally just drive, not even knowing when our services are. That happened after the RNC. But today, after 2 days after the inauguration, I've had people from all over the world. Literally, as I'm still in Washington, and people come up to me and they say, I'm not even religious. I don't even want anything to do with God. And they said, since you prayed, I'm considering to give my heart to Christ. I've had people who are atheists. I had a Satanist. Can you imagine this? Someone who worships Satan come and say, you know what? I want to give my life to Jesus. And that's what all this is about. It's not just about the spiritual impact. It's about the political impact. And that's why I'm staying in Washington here for the next few days. I want to start the minority Republican caucus where we can get every minority into the party. People like me, my Jewish brothers, my Middle Eastern brothers and sisters, those who have never had a seat at the table in the party. I'll be meeting with Mike Whitley. I'll meet with the Speaker, Mike Johnson, to pray with him today. I'm meeting with the cabinet members that are being confirmed to pray with them and to also lobby for this so that we can expand the party.
Reverend Lorenzo Sewells, we continue the conversation. A couple of questions. What will your prayer be? And I have to ask you the question as far as with President Trump. Is he saved? Is he someone that you feel God has put you here to, seriously, give him the message that if you proclaim Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, you are saved?
The millimeter miracle.
Yeah, this is a very good question. When we were in Georgia together, he came up to me, and similar to what he said to me on Monday about me being special. And yesterday I woke up and I went to the cathedral and I was sitting with the First Family yesterday. And I believe the reason why God had me so close to the First Family is to this point. I do believe that God wants me to explain the gospel clearly to him, for him to understand that, in order for him to confess Christ as his Lord and Savior. That is important to me. That is the utmost reason why I believe God has put me in this position, in order for me to proclaim the gospel, because that's the only reason why someone like me would have an opportunity like this, is to make sure the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ is understood by our president and received by him.
That's beautiful. And the fact that you were there in the cathedral with the bishop,
wow,
who and that was my first reaction was what it was sad to me that I did not hear her quote. She could have, there are a million quotes from Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. She could have said, I did not hear her just preach the word, but I heard her lecturing in a political way. What was your take? You were right there, Reverend Sewell.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a theological malpractice. That's what it was. What an opportunity to be able to proclaim and preach the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And instead of doing that, you use your pulpit for a political agenda to, quite frankly, lecture the leader of the free world after America said this is who we want to be our leader. Wow. It was theological malpractice like I've never seen in my life. I've been praying for her. I'm praying that she would repent. I'm praying that she would humble herself up under the mighty hand of God, and she would go to our president and repent for that message, because that message, first of all, it was a false dichotomy that it betrayed or implied that all Latinos clean rooms and pick cotton, picking fields. And I'm thinking, like, what is she talking about? And then she superimposed her LGBTQ plus community antics into scripture as if she was speaking for God. It was theological malpractice like I've never seen in my life. And we prayed after. After people came up to me, we prayed throughout that church. We bind up every demonic spirit. We prayed against every single weapon that the enemy tried to form against our president, that it will not prosper. We prayed that yesterday over him. Someone actually captured it and posted it on Instagram because we didn't want our president to be deceived into thinking that was from God. Mm-hmm. Actually, his grandchildren looked over at me almost to see if I was validating the heresy that she was teaching. It was awful. It was awful. And this is why people don't like preachers getting into politics, because of people like that have no political prowess.
Yeah, you put that perfectly and beautifully, and I love that your reaction and others was to pray about this and pray for her. I did want to, I think I'm getting messages from people. So people want to support you and your ministry and your church. And so that brings me to my next question, which I guess is it called the Lorenzo coin, or you have something new that I want to share with people?
So listen, now you cannot make this up. I am literally on my way back from prayer on Monday. I get a call from my boss. I don't take a salary from the church because during COVID, we felt like the Lord told my wife and I donate everything to the church. He would take care of us. So we do help with housing because that's a part of our mission. We build modular factories. We build houses indoors. And the president of the organization called me, and I'm like, this is weird. Why is he calling me now? He never would do that. I mean, never. So he's my boss. I pick up the phone. Hey, I happen to have Cardinal Dolan right there, and and he said, you need to go on TikTok right now and endorse this coin. And I'm thinking, okay, this is my boss telling me to do it. Okay, so I did it. His son was monitoring Bitcoin, and someone had made a coin. Someone had actually made a Lorenzo Sewell coin. From the time that I spoke until the time that I was heading back to my hotel, which is about 90 minutes, someone had begun to try to profit off of my name, image, and likeness. His son actually purchased the coin. And then he began to let me know how to endorse it so people know that it's my coin. And I'm going to tell you this. It's been doing very well. Every dollar is going toward the church, and it has been going amazing. We have young men that are homeless in our church right now that we're looking to build a house for. We're looking to provide transportation and housing for. And God, out of his kindness, used this financial institution. We want to be the first crypto-backed church. That's our goal. We want to be the first crypto-backed church.
Now, did you know much about crypto? Because that's, it's like a leap of faith on many levels here.
Well, that's my gift. If you not notice, my gift, that's my spiritual gift, is the gift of faith. So literally, all I knew, God has given me the blessedness of being able to discern people with a good character and be able to trust their wisdom. So I knew through the conversations, God, remember, I just prayed over the nation. And now I'm getting messages about crypto.
That's amazing.
And now I feel like God just saying, make the video. I just had peace to do what the Lord wanted me to do. And do you know, by the time we, from the time that we prayed to the time we closed out the day, the coin had gone up to, I think it was valued at like 11 million or something, some astronomical number. And we were like, whoa. So we locked it so people knew that we weren't trying to pull the rug out from under them. And it's locked from 2070. So if people would buy that coin, they would invest in that coin. Every dollar is going toward ministry.
Beautiful. Wow. Well, Reverend Sewell, thank you so much. I know you have to go. I know you're there and doing God's work, but thank you for sharing your message. And you made my day. I think you made all of our week. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Be blessed.
Bless you. Bye-bye.
Oh, thank you. Lorenzo Sewell, Reverend. And you saw him at the benediction. I know many of you gave him a standing ovation. Dan, thank you. I know yesterday we were promoting it, and then he had some church emergencies,
Yep.
so I'm glad you got him back.
Yeah, and really passionate speaker. I was
Yeah.
talking to Greg Stocker before the show. He's such a good speaker. I mean, he would be fantastic in a role teaching wrestlers how to do promo stuff because, man, is he a fantastic and passionate, emotionally driven speaker. If I lived out in Detroit, I know there's some chatters here who said they have family out in Detroit. They're going to send, even though there's political bias that disagree with where he leans, going to send him to his church because, I mean, if I could listen to that guy every Sunday, I sure would.
Yeah.
He's great.
He's wonderful. And I loved his take. He was right there. He witnessed that bishop speaking at the cathedral with the Trump family and the first family there.
Theological malpractice.
Theological malpractice.
What a great term.
Yes. 855-839-1210. So much more to discuss. A little developing news right around the corner. And I got to talk about, as we head out to the break, though, by the way, I've got the guys from Marvin E. Cans. They're coming back again. And I love these guys. They're just great people. And you know how you're excited when you find somebody who you can rely on and they're good people? So in this case, it's really making sure that my home is warm, efficient, and safe for winter. You know that's critical to me. And that's why I'm having Marvin E. Cans Heating and Air Conditioning. They're out again because they had discovered some missing wires, like with my system. And also they discovered, because our bill had gone up and we couldn't figure it out. Well, on the downstairs HVAC unit on the furnace, the last folks I had out months ago, that were my former, let's just say, HVAC guys, had turned that unit off at the circuit breaker. So we were on electric only, that unit. I mean, so the cost, it just jacked up the price. They discovered it in minutes, and the bill already went down, changed the filter, did the service. Here's the thing with Marvin E. Cans. They're third generation owned, veteran founded company. Actually, Jonathan Cans was telling me his grandfather, you can look him up, was actually a war hero and celebrated locally. Take my advice here. Call Marvin E. Cans. Get your furnace checked for winter. And if they feel that your unit needs to be replaced, they're going to give you an honest assessment. At a fair price, install a high-efficiency Trane furnace. That's what I recommend because they say it's hard to stop a Trane, Trane. You can contact Marvin E. Cans. Of course, they background check everybody. They're awesome, and they do not earn commission. These are true trained technicians. So Marvin E. Cans Heating and Air Conditioning, MarvinEKanze.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
The new 2025 Harley-Davidsons have arrived at Barb's Harley-Davidson. Barb's is Philly's closest and New Jersey's #1 dealer, and they want to be your Harley-Davidson dealer too. Be there Saturday for the new model reveal party, only at Barb's. Check us out at barbshd.com.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $40 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $18 a month, a savings of nearly $300 a year.
Whether you need a $100,000 policy or a $10 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. In a hurry? Don't worry. With SelectQuote, you can get up to $2 million in instant, affordable, same-day coverage with no medical exam.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-637-9116. That's 1-800-637-9116. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-637-9116. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Do you have a property that you no longer want? Maybe you inherited the property. Maybe you're underwater in the property. Or maybe you're just a tired landlord, tired of dealing with tenants. Listen, I could buy those properties, and I'll buy those properties fast. I can close in 2 weeks. I buy properties cash. My name is Larry Steinhaus. Give me a call at 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I will personally answer the call. You can also visit easyOutRealEstate.com. Hey, this is Larry Steinhaus from Investor Schooling. Did you know I have a radio show every Saturday from 1 to 3? It's called The Larry Steinhaus Show, and it's sponsored by Investor Schooling. On this show, you will learn things about finances and things about money that you never knew before. But even more of a reason to listen to this show is how much fun we have. If you haven't heard the banter between me, Omri, and Dr. Deb, you haven't heard the greatest show on earth. Listen to this show this Saturday at 1 o'clock right here on WPHT, and I promise you will learn something.
Don Stensland, weekdays 10 till noon, only on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And on the free Odyssey app.
So President Trump, in the wee hours of this morning, he did rip in, if you saw True Social, we mentioned this earlier on Kale & Co., that he called her a nasty Democratic bishop. But this really was, as you heard, our favorite my favorite Reverend, Lorenzo Sewell, he said it was really theological malpractice. What this Reverend Marianne Edgar Buddy, the Episcopal bishop,
buddy, friend.
Not my buddy, not your buddy, but and the Reverend, the Episcopalian Reverend, by the way, and Dan's going to play it in like 2 seconds, but she did say on CNN that this was an audience of one. So she was not trying to preach in a general way. She was trying to preach, if you will, I would say lecture, to President Donald J. Trump. Here it is.
In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation. But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our church.
And so she never mentioned scripture. And as Lorenzo Sewell pointed out, our Reverend, he pointed out, well, they're also not all crop pickers. I mean, talk about discriminating, and really being biased about how you envision all immigrants to this country. They're doctors, lawyers, right? People from all walks of life.
That's terrible.
It's a sin. It's a sin. Shame.
Theological malpractice.
I love that. We got to use that. We will be right back. So Terry Tracy's right around the corner. You always are going to learn from something from Broad and Liberty's chief editor, and he's just back from D.C. and all the fabulous Trump events, just back from the state capitol in Pennsylvania, where, in fact, for the first time in a very long time, we have some important Republicans who were just sworn in. So we'll hear the latest on all of that, the breaking news, not going to miss a thing. Thanks for being here.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 10% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
My daughters come down, and I said, hey, girls, what do you think about doing like a family TikTok? So they open up the TikTok app on their phone, and it says, sorry, no longer in service. Americans can't use it. I go, oh, my God, they did take TikTok away. And they're like, oh, my God, we forgot. 90 minutes later, I said, girls, come down here. I said, open up your TikTok app. It started working. It was like Christmas morning all over.
Oh, for God's sake.
I said, you can thank Mr. Trump for that.
Awesome job.
And then I dunked on my mother-in-law on FaceTime. I said, how about that's how you get things done?
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
We've got the Biggity Big, the Broad and Liberty Biggity Big, Terry Tracy in the house. There's so much going on, and of course, fresh from all of the fabulous inaugural events, because of course our own Terry Tracy was there. And then last night you were at the state capitol, right, for the big swearing in of all of the fabulous Republicans like our friend Stacey Garrity and Dave Sunday. So we have a lot to celebrate and talk about. Happy New Year.
Good morning, Dawn. Happy New Year.
You're not supposed to say it this far in, but I haven't seen you. Have I?
Yeah, it's 22nd.
We have not spoken since the holidays. I hope they were good for you. I don't think the statute of limitations has passed.
Yeah, but if you don't see someone until March, you don't say in March, Happy New Year. There's got to be a cutoff at some point, right?
Yeah. Maybe inauguration day is the cutoff. I don't know. We should sort that out here, right now.
So take us through it. Well, first of all, you, and I thank you. I know you're on a crazy busy schedule, but you went right from D.C. and then you went to the state capitol for all the swearings in. So can you update us on all the big news with regard to Pennsylvania? And we should be celebrating, right? We have this. Is this the first time since the Corbett administration that we have all these high-level Republicans in charge, if you will, in PA?
Yeah, it's true, and I think it's the first time we've had the Republican Party's had the row offices. Conservatives had the row offices since like 30 years or something like that, the 80s or 90s. So it's really an impressive showing for the party, for the conservative movement in Pennsylvania. And I think what struck me the most about the event last night for the swearing in of Stacey Garrity and Tim DeFore and Dave Sunday was that it felt very much like a harbinger of things to come, that this is the beginning of something in the state, not the end or, an interim diversion from. It was not just Republicans in the room last night. And that's not because it was just a, ceremonial thing and, you have representation from both parties. Even at the reception and the after events, there were a number of high-profile Democrats who were in the room, and I think there was a sense that they are recognizing there's been a sea change in the state, and they're getting on board. And whether that means working with Republicans to get things done on behalf of the people of Pennsylvania, or whether that's doing some serious soul searching about what the far left, what the uber progressive movement has done to the Democratic Party, and maybe it's a mixture of both. But I think that there's no argument that an improved and sane Democratic Party is also good for the Commonwealth. So I thought it was good to see that last night as well.
And so, the row offices you're talking about, all now occupied by these now famous Republicans. The first thing I noticed was, for example, the more than 24 states attorneys general across the country filing against the birthright citizenship that President Trump is pushing for, to say that no other nation has that issue. But because our Attorney General, Dave Sunday, is a Republican, he did not join with other Republicans across the nation to sue in this level. It was one of the first things that I noticed. I was like, oh, this is unusual. Pennsylvania's not on that list. New Jersey is, right? Delaware is, not us.
Yeah, Attorney General Josh Shapiro would have been all over that
yes.
to grab a headline or two. I'm of two minds of that particular issue, Dawn. I think it's a legitimate policy issue because the system has been gamed, because the issue has been abused. However, it is in the Constitution. Mm-hmm. And there are going to be some pretty legitimate legal challenges to it. And as a sort of strict constructionist by nature, mm-hmm. What I think is going on here is that the Trump administration is saying we're going to go all in, sort of kitchen sink approach on immigration. It's what the American people want. It's what the electorate voted for. President Trump was unambiguous when he was campaigning that this was going to be his top priority, and it's connected to everything else, and he's going to get the job done. And while I don't like to throw the word mandate around, I think on this particular issue, he absolutely has a mandate to do this. But I think it's also likely one of these things where he knows that this one may come off the table as he's negotiating in time, and that there's going to be some wiggle room around how to deal with this particular aspect of his overall immigration policy, but he'll be able to be more aggressive on other fronts as a result of there being trade-off. No one's told me that. It's complete speculation on my part. But my sense is, because it is enshrined in the Constitution, because it's going to be a protracted legal battle, it's going to be used as leverage to get some of these other things done to secure the border now.
Yeah, the art of the deal. And that's
absolutely.
And we'll be accused by some who want to be the detractors that we're Trump-splaining, but I agree with you. I think that's 100%. He's trying to get people to self-deport, and as well just trying to get the best deal for the country. And we'll see. It's going to go to the Supreme Court, obviously, and then we'll see how that shakes out. As far as, you mentioned Stacey Garrity, you mentioned as well DeFore. When you think about this, I think about some of the big issues, Terry Tracy, the pharmacy benefit managers costing so much for taxpayers. That's a huge issue. I know that for Stacey Garrity, when she was hailed, in fact, by her office's investments in those Israel bonds, and we've seen a real support for Israel. Your reaction to all of that, you think about the headlines, what's happening now with the peace accords and the hostages, thank God, coming home, although not soon enough. And you think about Pennsylvania's role in all of the world's reaction. And I'll tell you, Terry, when I've interviewed people who live in Israel or reporters who report from there, and my husband Larry as well, what they say is that everybody in Israel watches us, and it means a lot to those states, those places, those people who understand this is a hostage situation, that this was a terrorist act. Just I know I just kind of threw out a lot at you, but just your reaction to those items in the headlines.
How about President Biden calling it a joke that people would assert that, that Trump had some impact, that these things you're talking about had some impact on finally getting a ceasefire and getting some of these hostages home? I mean, it's like the guy can't figure out which part you're supposed to say out loud and which part you're supposed to keep to yourself. It's really astonishing. I think as Pennsylvanians, we should pump our tires a little bit here. I mean, the reality is we're not just the Keystone State in a political sense, purely because of the Electoral College, but because of all these other issues that you're talking about, immigration, energy, foreign policy, because as President Trump calls it, the liquid gold beneath our feet. We are a significant strategic player on the world stage. And I think that's why it is so important to have leaders in all levels of government who truly do believe in the concept of put America first. And that doesn't mean we have to agree on every policy issue, but it means that our priorities are, derived from the idea that this is a great nation who has the potential, who has a track record of doing great things, that has tremendous capacity to do more great things for ourselves and for the world. And that impulse is what should inform our policy approach, not the, we're terrible, we're racist, we're flawed. Of course we're flawed, we're human. But it really is refreshing. And one of the things that struck me the most, and I'll make this point to come back to what you were saying about Stacey Garrity and Tim DeFore, but one of the things that struck me the most about President Trump's inaugural address was the foreign policy piece. I mean, he has been labeled an isolationist when he campaigned in 15 and 16. It was really about getting us out of long, protracted wars. And conservatives, many conservatives, particularly the neocon wing of the Republican Party, felt like this was a guy that was going to undermine the Morning in America sort of Reagan foreign policy era with his isolationist impulses. And when you listen to that speech the other day, him going on about, the Gulf of America and the Greenland stuff and Panama Canal, it's a manifest destiny, sort of James K. Polk doubling the size of the country, the best real estate deals in our history. Maybe it's the Polk doctrine, I don't know. But it really, to hear an American president speak like that is something that I find to be tremendously refreshing, but it's also grounded in common sense and not idealism or ideology. And that, I think, will prove to be a very powerful combination, which brings me back to Pennsylvania. And when you listen to a guy like Tim DeFore speak, he is an actual practitioner in the job. The man is an accountant. He's an auditor. He's a finance guy. He's the first guy in that office in memory who is not in that office so he can run for something else. And, Stacey Garrity's track record in her first term was rewarded on these things because she's now the largest vote getter ever in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That's not by accident. Mm-hmm. And so we really are, I think, blessed. We can sigh of relief that we have these kinds of leaders in these roles at this very dangerous moment in the world, because there is a lot of healing that needs to be done. And there is a lot of pivoting that must be done from a policy perspective, and particularly with what we're projecting on the world stage. And it feels like that reset is very much happening in real time.
I'll just throw out some headlines because I only have a couple minutes with you. I know you got to go because you're on the move. But your reaction to, and I'll just throw these out. There's TikTok and Trump talking about that, and it's worth maybe $1 trillion. We've got Doge. We've got drop DEI by 5 today. We've got immigration reform. You pick.
Let's talk about Doge for a second, because I think that it is, well, it's gotten a lot of publicity because of who's connected to it, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, although he's leaving to apparently run for governor of Ohio. But this is the first time since maybe the reinventing government movement in the beginning of the Clinton administration, which we're talking, 92? So now 32 years, it's almost a generation, that someone is taking a serious look at the size and scope of government, the constitutional role of the bureaucracy at the federal level, questions of federalism and the administrative state. This is a really, really, really important issue. This is not just let's go in there and you take a sledgehammer to it and burn the place down. I don't think that's what this is. I think President Trump and Elon Musk and the team that they put together is going to be targeted. They're going to be strategic, and they're going to do something that I think has the potential to create generational kinds of change. And it's something that's way overdue, because government has become way too involved in every aspect of our lives. And there's the issues we talk about, but then there are other things that have been disastrous. I mean, think about when the Obama administration attached student loan reform to the ACA healthcare bill through the reconciliation process. And what has that done? It has done nothing but create a government monopoly that has resulted in bloated universities with woke ideologies driving the agenda rather than educating our kids, and massive, massive increases in tuition that are breaking families and also kids who are getting out of school with massive student debt. Yeah. That is a government-created problem, and it's the kind of thing that sort of like gets glossed over because it has become so much the norm in Congress and with these progressive administrations. And DOGE offers an opportunity to examine the impact of that on the American government and the American society at a level of detail and scrutiny that has not been done in decades. And if they do this right, it's a game changer.
We'll leave it at that. Terry Tracy, Chief Executive Officer, Broad and Liberty. There's so much on there. Terry, travel safe back home. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dawn. Always a pleasure.
My pleasure is all ours and all mine for sure. broadandliberty.com. And you can read all about, he was there with Dave Sunday. We'll have to have him back on since he's sworn in now. We had him on multiple times, as well as Stacey Garrity. I think Stacey Garrity will be governor of Pennsylvania. I think she is our favorite redhead. I'm just saying. I really like her. And she's likable. She's real. And you laughing at me? She's my favorite redhead. Am I allowed to say that?
Sure.
I do. I like her a lot. I think she's common sense. And I think let's be honest, even Democrats like her. They couldn't say much about her. So your thoughts on all of the above. We'll get into some of the issues that, Terry had to run because, like I say, he's been on the road back and forth for days now, headed back from Harrisburg. But we'll get into drop DEI by 5, what happens there. We have a lot of immigration news with Philadelphia City Council. They're meeting to deal with this as we are a so-called sanctuary city. But I don't see Mayor Parker speaking about that yet, so we'll watch for that. TikTok. What about TikTok? So much to talk about. 855-839-1210. Be right back.
It's the grand opening of King Shooter Supply in King of Prussia, Sunday, February 2nd from noon till 6. With deals and specials you won't want to miss. The gun store and shooting range is complete with an additional 7 more indoor lanes, 14 total, a huge parking lot rear entrance, and the same great staff inside. King Shooters welcomes beginners into their family of competitive shooters, recreational shooters, law enforcement professionals, and hunters, helping you find the right firearm, ammunition, and accessories. 346 East Church Road in King of Prussia, on Facebook and at kingshooters.com.
Heart disease and stroke can be catastrophic. They're leading causes of death, disability, and healthcare spending in the U.S., yet they're largely preventable. Alarmingly, heart disease and stroke are taking a toll on middle-aged adults 35 to 64, with over 800,000 deaths and hospitalizations in 2016. Million Hearts is a national initiative focused on preventing 1 million heart attacks, strokes, and other cardiovascular events by 2022. Coordinated actions by Million Hearts partners in communities, healthcare, and public health will keep people healthy, optimize care, and improve outcomes in populations at risk. Everyone has a part to play. Focus on the ABCs of heart health. A. Aspirin use when appropriate. B. Blood pressure control. C. Cholesterol management. And S. Smoking cessation. To learn more, visit cdc.gov/vital signs.
I'm just a kid. I'm 6. I'm 9. I'm 4.5. And I've got asthma. You know just how upset I can get when I have an asthma attack.
And I know that you want to do all that you can do to help me.
But you might not know about all the different stuff that can make me have an asthma attack.
Or all the simple things you can do to fight my asthma.
You can fight it with a bear.
You can fight it with a duck. You can fight it with a wrench.
Put my teddy bear in the freezer to wipe out dust mites.
Dry off rubber duckies and fix leaks to get rid of mold. 'Cause mold can start my asthma attacks too.
Discover other simple ways to prevent an asthma attack. Visit noattacks.org. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. EPA, the Ad Council, and this station.
Thanks for doing all you can to help me out. 'Cause I don't want to feel like a fish with no water.
To battle is to fight, to struggle, to overcome. And ultimately for the Marine Corps, it means to win. There is no alternative. It's not just a statement of intent. It's a promise to our nation. A promise kept for more than 2 centuries. A promise of the Marines.
Calling on Percy to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app.
Download it now.
Picture streams in our community. That's where our kids play, and dogs splash. And some of these streams provide the water we drink. But is the water in these streams clean and safe? The truth is, for most local streams, no one knows. That's a problem. One the Isaac Walton League can help you solve with the Clean Water Challenge. For almost 50 years, the Isaac Walton League of America has helped people just like you test the water in local streams, clean up pollution, and protect healthy waters. Today, the Isaac Walton League has an ambitious new goal: engage volunteers across the country to test 100,000 more streams for pollution. You can protect clean water in our community by joining the Clean Water Challenge. To get involved, visit iwla.org. That's iwla.org.
Keep free speech alive. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
All morning since we, came on live 6 a.m. and I'm always monitoring all the media coverage, especially with a special, look at CNN, MSNBC. They're losing their minds as President Trump is, really rolling out his new policy after issuing that flurry of wide-ranging executive actions, orders, as we learn more about them. So the left and the, that so-called mainstream legacy media, they're talking about birthright citizenship. And today, 5 p.m., you're fired. They're dropping DEI by 5 p.m. tonight. So the managers, or I infer to people with the title of DEI, so they'll be suspended with the intention of being fired, getting rid of all of that. They're losing their minds over that one. And then you have the ladies at The View. What are they revisiting, Dan?
Oh, it's a fun day at The View, Dawn, because, listen to who they brought on as their guest.
The church lady? Isn't that special?
Yeah, special. Hold on, take a listen.
But the vast majority of immigrants are not
sorry, I went back a little
criminals.
too far there. But, yeah.
Oh, he didn't like that.
I got on.
Isn't that special?
Trump did not get the message, and now he's demanding an apology. So here to respond, please welcome Bishop Marion Edgar Buddy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
There's the Reverend.
So let me ask you this. You seem to have more fearlessness than anyone in Congress right now, ma'am. What made you decide to use that opportunity for this message, or didn't you have any?
I'm just going to stop it right there. More fearlessness than anybody in Congress.
Fearlessness.
Apprehension
what
about
motivates you? Satan? Sorry, I can't resist. Look at her.
My response. Thank you, first of all, for allowing me to be with you today. My responsibility that morning, yesterday morning, was to reflect, to pray with the nation for unity. And as I was pondering what are the foundations of unity, I wanted to emphasize respecting the honor and dignity of every human being, basic honesty and humility.
Is that what she said? Because I don't think that's what she said, really.
I also realized that that unity requires a certain degree of mercy and compassion and understanding. And so knowing that a lot of people, as I said, in our country right now are really scared, I wanted to take the opportunity in the context of that of service for unity to say we need to treat everyone with dignity, and we need to be merciful. And I was trying to counter the narrative that is so divisive and polarizing, and in which people, real people, are being
Real
harmed.
people, not those MAGA people. You Satanists.
Bishop, I was struck by your tone. You were so gentle. You were so respectful. You were very demure and very mindful. And
Very
you
lectury.
said all of this with Trump, J.D. Vance, and their families, including Melania, an immigrant, and Usha Vance, a child of immigrants, sitting there.
Right.
And their reactions were very visible for all of us to see. You could see their faces. Were you paying attention to how your message was received by them in that
Here's
moment?
the thing, and I don't know where this woman, Anna Navarro, thinks she was a Republican. I can't find where she was ever like a elected official. She claims she was like an advisor to, I don't know who. But in any event, I will say this, that they sat there respectfully. They could have all stood up. And that was one of our first callers, was it Andy? I apologize. But, they could have stood up and left. They were being lectured in a church where the pastor, the reverend, the bishop, I should say, she could have chosen to use her pulpit, as our pastor, our Reverend Sewell said earlier, Lorenzo Sewell said that your job as a minister, the reason whether you're a bishop, a reverend, a pastor, a priest, an imam, is to preach the word of God, because there are lost souls, especially with post-pandemic, with people who are hurting financially with the economy or with the mental health crisis, the opioid crisis, the drug crisis. I mean, people are going through tough times. And so why not reach that greater audience that needs to hear the word of God? And I even was looking at, different scriptures. She could have said, like in Matthew, quoting Jesus, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." What a beautiful scripture from Matthew 25:40. What a beautiful message that would have been. But she was not demure. She was not preaching with humility, in my opinion. She really reminds me of that church lady in Dana Carvey. "Oh, who's behind you, Satan?" You know what I mean? It was just like that kind of, it was not gracious or loving or humble. I didn't think it was. But at the same time, I don't think it's fair to judge their faces. I mean, I think they just were sitting there quite stoic. Am I wrong?
Was it? Who could it possibly be? Was it? Oh, I don't know. Satan?
Thank you, Dan. You're the best. That's what.
Even a little bit.
Even a little bit.
I've been preaching for a long time, and I've long since given up trying to read people's body language as I'm preaching. Because I would be wrong most of the time. So I don't know. I was aware that obviously people were listening, but I couldn't allow myself in that moment.
Has she mentioned God? I mean, here she is on ABC The View. And here in Philadelphia, they get big ratings. I don't know what their ratings are. But again, think about that. Here's a reverend at a time in our country. We have all kinds of people in crisis. Is she preaching the word of God? Is she preaching to people and saying, God loves you. Jesus Christ died on a cross for you. Is she quoting scripture? Dan, have I missed something? Is she mentioning God?
I don't think so. I have not noticed.
Like, I'm not being snarky here. I'm being real.
No, I don't think.
855-839-1210.
You want to do like a counter, see how long it takes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
I just had to keep going, right? I had what I felt was on my heart to say, and I had to leave it to them, to all of us, to take from whatever my words were, to heart in whichever way they could, and leave, as they say, leave the rest to God.
Okay.
Bishop,
she did.
We got one.
She left the rest to God, sort of in as a side. Like, yeah, Holy Father, like, you're the afterthought, because it's about me, I.
And I had to leave it to them, to all of us, to take from whatever my words were, to heart in whichever way they could, and
not inspired by the word of God,
as they say, leave the rest to God.
Okay, she did. So that's nice that she said that as sort of a frisbee toss at the end. That was, thank goodness. But
we got it.
It's a sin.
It didn't take as long as we expected. No. I have Lorenzo Sewell's thoughts about her words, if you want that again.
Yes.
He joined us in the first hour. This was the pastor who delivered the prayer at the inauguration that quoted Martin Luther King, a really passionate speech. Just what he had to say about Mary and Buddy.
Well, it was a theological malpractice.
Boom.
That's what it was.
Boom.
What an opportunity to be able to proclaim and preach the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And instead of doing that, you use your pulpit for a political agenda to, quite frankly, lecture the leader of the free world after America said this is who we want to be our leader. Wow. Wow.
Thank you. The Reverend Lorenzo Sewell. So we found a Detroit Christian minister and reverend who could, he spoke it perfectly. Thank you, Dan, for getting him to come on in his busy schedule. He's been in D.C. and really, you heard the story. If you heard him tell it, you can go back and listen. But essentially just saying that he couldn't believe it. He thought he was getting pranked, which is pretty funny. He couldn't believe that Donald J. Trump, was interested in hearing from him or his message. So I love that message. The lead story, I'm looking at ABC News. Trump administration directs all federal DEI staff to be put on leave. So I don't know what this looks like as far as this diversity, equity, and inclusion thing. I know that this is what the media is talking about. My inference was that they're going to shut down the DEI departments and they're going to do a merit. People are hired on merit. Now, I don't know if I had seen that our friend, Kathy Barnett, she had put out on social media and she said, wait a minute, how do they know? Are they just going to go around like fire all the black women or, what is that? And that is a legit point. But I believe that what they've said is they're shutting down these DEI departments. Now, does that mean people will have the opportunity to go to apply for the merit, hired by merit department? I don't know. I really don't know the details on how this works, but we're told that there's a memo that directs the agencies to place the DEI titled staffers that they would be on paid leave by today, 5 p.m. That's the latest that we have. So if you have thoughts, 855-839-1210. Be right back.
There will be plenty of sunshine today across the Delaware Valley, but the high temperature is still a good 20 degrees below average at 22. Tonight becoming partly cloudy, still cold, low 12 for the city, colder out in the suburbs. And not as cold on Thursday, mixture of sunshine and clouds with a high 32.
Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly, and it's 100% free to you if you are on Medicaid. Call 267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
Is your kitchen or bathroom in need of a makeover?
It's time to transform your home into a personal oasis with Emmons Remodeling.
Our expert team specializes in kitchen and bathroom renovations, creating beautiful, functional spaces you and your family will love. We handle everything from design to installation.
So call us today at 856-885-6677 or visit callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie, your radio doctor. Every Saturday afternoon at 5, I talk with doctors and medical specialists from around the country to discuss the latest information about heart disease, cancer prevention, topics in women's health, pediatrics, mental health, and more. Then you can make better decisions for yourself and your loved ones. Your radio doctor, Saturdays at 5, here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, because your health is your wealth.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
I know I reported this earlier, but it's worth saying again as far as why the ICE officials had really paused the huge planned deportation raids that were scheduled for, I guess, early Tuesday morning or overnight after the big inaugural. And so the word from Tom Homan, who's furious, is that somebody tipped off the people there in Chicago, that ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers in Chicago, they were then told to stand down and that the operations were called off for now. And this was because they wanted to restore the element of surprise. And this was after somehow word leaked out as to who was getting raided and when they would, which sanctuary city would be targeted. And at least one we know was indeed Chicago. And I think the bottom line is that could potentially put officers in danger if they know they're coming or something of that nature. But I think that who broke the story? Was it Wall Street Journal? I don't know. There are a few that are talking about this. We've seen some arrests, I guess, that they're talking about, but we don't see any large-scale raids, to my knowledge. Possible raids in New York City, we're hearing about that. But I also think that what we're seeing is that many individuals, especially if they're being put up in certain housing, where there are a bunch of people, let's say they've taken over a hotel, because we heard about that across the country, where there are hotels which might be a little bit empty, and then the government is paying for all these folks to stay in the hotels. They were just worried about the raids. It's like, oh, Trump was sworn in, we're out of here, and they're self-deporting. So that's great if people, especially if they're with the cartels, I don't know. 855-839-1210.
Did you hear that woman on Fox yesterday?
What did she say?
Oh, she was great. Take a listen. Here she is. Her name is, I don't have her name here. Where's her name? Cata Truss. Cata Truss, a Chicago resident on Fox.
I am confident in this administration. I am confident in Tom Homan getting things done. And I am confident that the Chicagoans are going to step up. We're ready to assist in any way we can. There are those of us who are willing to work with this administration to make sure that people who are here illegally are sent back home. We want to also make sure that those criminals who came here to set up their criminal operations, again, are sent home. And so whatever we have to do as Chicagoans to assist with that, we're ready and willing to help.
I love it. And that's just it. That's real. And that's what part of the reason he won. Because everybody knows that in cities where the schools are hurting and people are hurting with the economy, and then to hear that we're burdened with the cost of paying for people. Imagine somebody showing up to your house. And we should, I loved when we put them in, remember, was it in Texas and Florida? And they said, well, let's put some folks, maybe we'll offer them to, if they want to choose to go to Martha's Vineyard. Remember this? And they said, well, Martha's Vineyard, oh my goodness. Well, we don't have room. You know what I mean? It's like, imagine somebody just showing up, some stranger showing up at your doorstep and saying, yeah, I heard you had an extra room, so we're just staying overnight. And so all these people are saying, wait a minute, we're hurting, and now we're supposed to put you up and pay for you and feed you and clothe you? That's what we've been doing, and nobody's talking about it in the media. So we're hearing from Tom Homan that these deportations that this is being implemented, and I believe it'll be happening this evening.
He's appeared on Fox News this morning.
He did.
Yeah, and he had some information about the ICE and what's happening here. Take a listen.
What would
a person have to do to get a visit from ICE?
For it to be in the country illegally, first of all, I mean, there's nothing in the immigration law that says you got to be convicted of a serious crime to be removed under the INA. So if you're in the country illegally, ICE can visit you. But right now, as we said repeatedly, and the President Trump's been clear, we're concentrating on the worst first, the public safety threats, and national security threats. And just yesterday, in the last 24 hours, ICE arrested over 308 serious criminals. Some of them were murderers. Some of them were rapists. Some of them raped a child. Some were sexual assault of a child. So ICE is doing their job, and they're prioritizing just as the president said they would. So the ICE is performing excellent right now out in the field, and they're going to continue every day.
And what you hear from the so-called mainstream media, and just looking across the board, one news outlet saying these ICE raids plan to focus on undocumented immigrants who have committed minor offenses such as driving violations. They also intend to arrest anyone who is around these petty offenders who happens to be in the country illegally. That's how they're wording things in the media. Now, first of all, anybody here illegally, if they're driving, they're the slowest, most careful drivers. They don't have any driving offenses. I'm sorry, but it's true.
It is.
They're the safest drivers. That's the one thing I will say. Like,
don't want to get pulled over.
We all need to slow down and we should drive, especially in Philadelphia, a little safer. But that's just not true. That's not true. They're not going after people with driving violations because guess what? If the people have a driving violation, that means they own a vehicle, they have a job, and they have.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I also want to throw it out there. I mean, the great Isaiah Thomas here in Philadelphia, his driving equity bill created it so essentially.
Well, that's true.
You know, you have all these fake license plates, these temporary tags and such you see throughout the city. So if I were here illegally, which I'm clearly not, but if I were, my plan would be, why don't I get one of these fake tags thrown on my car and then you can't, track me anyway.
That's true.
So how are these driving violations going to stack up? Because in big cities, they're not pulling them over.
Except in New York because they have the Kathy Hochul tax. So now they have a crackdown if you have a fake plate, right? Because they got to do the Kathy Hochul tax. And if you got the fake plate, then you're not paying their little tax. Yeah. It's like $9 a day, 7 days a week.
Homan pressed on the humanity of this on Fox this morning.
I want to save lives. Yeah. Secure border saves lives. And when President Trump locks this border down, less women and children be sex trafficked in this country. Less aliens would die making that journey. Under President Biden, we've had a record number of people die crossing that border. 600% increase in sex trafficking. And look at the 250,000 young Americans dead from fentanyl. When we secured a border, the fentanyl deaths just decreased. Sex trafficking has decreased. Deaths on the border decreased. So it's just about saving lives. Secure borders save lives. And plus, look, you can't have strong national security if you don't have border security.
That's right.
We need to know who's coming in, what's coming in, where's coming in, why it's coming in. So, again, President Trump, game changer, already made a significant difference on that border. This country is already safer because of President Trump.
Yeah, so Tom Homan, by the way, he should be next year's Times Man of the Year, Tom Homan. I think he's an American hero. He's doing a great job, and I love how he's so plain-spoken. By the way, Philadelphia Inquirer prominently featuring a picture of Zach Reel, who we talked to live yesterday, welcoming him home after his sentence was commuted. And 6ABC, they did a story on it and quoted us, and we thank them for that. I thought Walter Perez did a good job and was fair about it. There was also a headline that I guess Senator John Fetterman had no idea that somebody he took a photo with was one of the J6ers at some point who was released or something. So we'll see what he's saying about that as he moves toward the middle. Is he moving toward the middle? What is he doing? Or is he more politically astute than any of us gave credit? Harvard graduate that he is. He's no dummy. We got to quit just saying people are dummies because of their politics on both sides of the aisle, right? Because he's not a dummy. He's no dummy.
Honestly, seems like someone that just wants to get something done.
Well, but I mean, he's politically astute. Do you know what I'm saying? He's a politically astute guy.
I think he also recognizes that if he wants to advance any democratic values at this point, he has to at least play, the game, right?
Play the game, go to the powerful one, kiss the ring, which he did, Mar-a-Lago. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Well, that's what happens when there's a power shift, right?
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
I also think that's why the Democrats are mad at him. And even the Inquirer put that headline, when was that, a week or two ago? Because when Terry Tracy mentioned earlier about the fact that we saw government reform back during the Clinton administration, the difference, I will say to you, is that it was, yes, Clinton, president, Democrat, but you had, remember, Newt Gingrich and the 100 days, Republicans with Congress. Remember that. And so you had that bipartisanship. So the Fettermans of the world are important, and Trump knows that because he's right there with it. He wants to have bipartisan support to get things done, move the country forward, etc. So that's why John Fetterman is wise to do what he's doing, and then he'll be rewarded for it. There it is. I'll get what?
Larry, watch out for Peter M over on YouTube chat. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. Please go like, subscribe.
What?
Peter writes, when Dawn looks at the camera, I point at her, then I point at me, and then I smile awkwardly.
Aw.
It's kind of creepy, I gotta say.
You, babe. Thank you, Peter. That's so nice. You know, you've heard me. You know what else is nice? Chapman Windows, Doors, and Siding. The Chapman family team, they're awesome people. And I don't know, I think, gosh, how long and I'm so honored that the Chapman family team, they've been with us for years, at least PHT, like 15 years. And so when they said, we want Dawn to be our ambassador, I was so honored. And that was probably, 9+ years ago at this point. You've heard me talk a lot about the Chapman family team. And I don't say it enough, but Greg Stocker, my boss, brand manager, right? Greg was saying that some of our sponsors have reported they've been trolled. And some of, they've people go online and they're really nasty to some of our sponsors to try to say, why would you ever be a sponsor on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and those crazy, evil, dangerous MAGA people? And Greg was telling us about that this morning. And so that's why I would just say this, whether you need windows, doors, siding, stucco remediation, any of that, if you go to ChapmanWindowsDoors.com, even just leave them a comment, say, hey, thanks. Thanks for being a strong supporter of PHT. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that means a lot to them, because apparently our sponsors right now, especially with the Trump win and all of our coverage and I guess the ratings, there are those going after the sponsors to try to cut us off at our knees, so to speak. So they have a great deal right now, a promotion that they're running where you can redo your front door. You receive 50% off any standard door installation when you purchase a new door from my friends at Chapman Windows, Doors, and Siding. And think about a new front entry door. It's basically a makeover. It just looks beautiful. It gives the house a whole new look. So Chapman Windows, Doors, and Siding, they carry a range of top brands. You can choose from these. I got Provia, which is a great company, and they put in one of the doors. I mean, what was this? A couple of years ago at this point. It's as if it's brand new. They're beautiful. Provia is a brand I would recommend, but they have quite a variety of brands that you can choose from. They'll work with you to pick the perfect door at the perfect price. And that's just it. You can say, this is my budget. They will work with you. So you can head to their showroom in Westchester. They're great people. They're local, or they'll come to your house. Either way. So whether you or somebody you're looking for windows, doors, siding, shutters, or the hardware choices, you want to give them a call, text 610-431-8898. ChapmanWindowsDoors.com. And remember, 50% off any standard door installation when you purchase that brand new door. ChapmanWindowsDoors.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Babe, I got you.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
A code blue remains in effect throughout Philadelphia, so there are 20 warming centers open in the city. The Philly School District is pushing a program aimed at getting more minority students interested in teaching careers, and plans are in the works to extend part of the Schuylkill River Trail down to Southwest Philly.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Looking for the confidence to walk away from the 9 to 5? Find out how with Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sundays at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause. Brought to you by the Labor and Energy Alliance this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that will affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hi, it's John Ashell, the car czar from Colonial Hyundai. I'm excited to announce that our new home is complete and it's built just for you. Built for savings, built for service. Our state-of-the-art dealership is designed to make buying, leasing, or servicing your vehicle faster, easier, and better than ever. Right now, it's effortless to buy, trade, or upgrade at Colonial Hyundai. Colonial continues to be recognized for awarding the highest trade-in values in the region. I'll give you $6,500 for your trade, guaranteed, no matter the condition. We have over 200 vehicles in stock. Tucson's, Santa Fe's, Palisades, and Konas. For this month only, drive home a new Hyundai Elantra SEL Sport for just $119 per month. Every new Hyundai comes with 3-year complimentary maintenance and America's Best Warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain, and Hyundai Assurance. Shop us online 24/7 at colonialhyundai.com. Colonial Hyundai, the faster, easier, better way to buy a Hyundai.
2025 Elantra SEL Sport. 12,000 miles a year for 24 months. $5,999 down plus first month's payment, tax, motor vehicle fees, and dock fee. In stock vehicles only. Offers cannot be combined. See dealer for full details. Offer expires February 3rd, 2025.
Free speech lives here with Don Stensland, 10 till noon on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
I got you, babe. So how are you feeling? You know, we're now hump day after the big inauguration. Are you happy with the way everything's going? Because we have the rollout of all of the Trump policies. He's back. And of course, the media malpractice is back as well. As, you know, we talked about this yesterday, the whole thing where Elon Musk referenced his heart and then flung his hand out and expressed his love to the public. And they said it was some kind of a Nazi salute, which is nuts. And all of that disinformation. The media is just doing their malpractice thing. It's a sin, as I say. 855-839-1210. Let's get to Joe in Columbus. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Dawn. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
You guys throw one heck of a party, I'm going to tell you. And it was great seeing you.
It was great to see you, too. It was a lot of fun. Great group. And thanks to Jim Worthington. Even though he was with Trump, obviously at the inaugural, but at the Newtown Athletic Club. But what a great day.
It was. So on these DEI hires, I got a possible or the beginning of a solution. Mm-hmm. First you got to do is you got to check and do a comprehensive check of their resumes. That'd be a quick way to get a lot of them out, get a good handful of them out of there, I would say, because, you know, see if they fudge their resumes. But then I think you got to come up with a very, very comprehensive, almost like a civil service test to see if they can keep their jobs. Seems like everybody these days has to go through continuing education, come up with a test to see if they actually know the duties of their jobs, and tell them, you know, there's a high standard here. You can't pass this test, or we're going to have a hierarchy, and we're only keeping the best ones.
The only thing I would say about that is that I think if you're going to give a test to government worker, well, first of all, they ordered all the federal workers, they've got to be back in person. But I think if you're going to order a test in a workplace, you have to give everybody the test.
Yes.
You can't, right? So And the other piece of this, I infer, again, I'm just inferring this, Joe, but I believe that this DEI title that we're hearing about, where they're suspended by 5, I think that's some of these jobs are highly paid jobs, and these are managerial type jobs in departments that were newly created. So I don't think, that's what I infer. I don't think these are huge, like hundreds of workers. We'll find out, certainly, because everybody's covering this. But I infer that we're talking about a few people at the top of the food chain here who got the gig. They're probably patronage hires, and they have the DEI title. Because I don't know how you just get rid of somebody. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how that would work.
The normal government worker probably has some kind of union protection. The managerials don't.
Yes.
So, can them without even an excuse.
Donald J. Trump, right? The Apprentice. You're fired. Joe, we love you. Thank you so much, my friend. Let's get to Steve. Hey, Steve.
Yeah, hi, Dawn. Real quick, I'm really thrilled at what President Trump did on his first day. But one thing I think he should have also mentioned was the amount of money that's given to illegal aliens. If you cut off their EBT cards and you cut off their Social Security, they will go home. Because that means they don't have a job. So if they have a job, all right, let them stay. They're working in a meat factory or they're in the service industry or something like that. I don't see a problem. All right, and then try to make sure they become a citizen and learn our language.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's a great point that, in fact, we have a lot of people here, and we have to figure out the visa. I know that Trump was talking about that. Some of the visas, they have to figure out the bureaucracy so that people who are here, and they're in all kinds of jobs across the board. So, we want individuals who are hardworking. They're here legally on a visa. Let's make sure that we can cut through the bureaucracy, make sure they can keep working on the visa since they came here legally in the first place. Steve, thank you. Joe, thank you. I know my goodness, where does the morning go? 6 hours nearly later, TikTok, Dom Giordano, he is raring to go. It's a big hump day on the Dom Show.
Hey, thanks, Dawn. Great, a moving video of J.D. Vance, never been in the Oval Office, Vance, as they walked him in today and the whole Appalachia to the Oval Office someday, maybe. But also, Dawn, we have great guests from the Heritage Foundation. It looks like ICE is actually arresting people, deporting people as we speak.
Yeah. Dom Giordano Show is up right now.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, Hims can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-419-2387. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-419-2387. 800-419-2387. 800-419-2387.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
On Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
It is Dom time. Good Wednesday, big day. Probably during the show, we're going to have the Lake and Riley vote, and it's going to pass, but I'm betting we're still going to have the 3 women from the suburbs here. And I'm just, how in the world could they be out of touch this much to vote against it when the rest of the world is moving relentlessly toward doing it, including a lot of Democrats, some of them right here. All right, but we have the bishop. She's back. President Trump asking for an apology, which she certainly won't do. And the people on Fox and Friends with the crazed bishop we played you yesterday, directly as the president's at a prayer service, dirty pool, going after him. That bishop was on The View today. In a moment, we'll play you what she had to say, clarifying further her position. The part I objected to, if she wanted to say, Mr. President, in the spirit of all this, I just would like to say, I realize the political and all that stuff, but with these people here illegally, please consider compassion toward it. That's the part that didn't get me, although she didn't say it in the way that I did. It's about her idea of both intensifying whatever anxiety parents and kids that are gay feel. What in the world is Trump or anybody else going to do to these kids? The answer is absolutely nothing. So why in the world do that? Well, it's on an autopilot. The way these people think, their ideology, of course they're going to say stuff like this. They want to provoke it deep down. So the Fox and Friends, almost to a person, suggested, don't go to this national cathedral there in Washington. Don't have your administration go. Don't have members of Congress that are Republican and people that are sympathetic. That's a great plan. Do not go. Do not give them the platform. There's nothing that says that you have to do that. Just don't honor them. Don't honor them. They are political, nuts, hateful. Here's a little bit, though, of how it sounded on The View with Bishop Budd.
Predictably, you seem to strike a nerve. President Trump initially said yesterday it was, quote, not a good service, unquote. But overnight, he took to social media to say you were a, quote, radical left hardline Trump hater, unquote, that you brought the church into politics and that you owe your church and the public an apology. Now, given your role, it doesn't seem surprising that you would speak out for the marginalized, as anyone who's read the Bible and knows the path of Jesus. But do you think your message is being misconstrued?
Now, second place to me on The View, the newsreader, this Haynes woman, constantly this woman resorts to the Bible, and the only page in the Bible is Jesus. Jesus forgives. Jesus this. constantly. She's on that cockamamie show, What Would You Do? They put her in there now, and it's perfect. It's always skewed to the person who's mean, right-wing, something of that nature, and the heroes are always on the left. That's what she's talking about. Of course you told him about Jesus. What would Jesus do? Let them do whatever the hell they want. That's the message of the Bible. There's nothing in there other than if you're conservative, if you say stick to the law, etc., then you're problematic with the Bible. That's Sarah Haynes. It continues.
And politicized.
Oh, well, sure. Yeah. But I think if you read what I said, and I mean, how could it not be politicized, right? We're in a hyper political climate.
You're a religious
one of the things
figure.
I caution about is the culture of contempt in which we live that immediately rushes to the worst possible interpretations of what people are saying and to put them in categories such as the ones you've just described. That's part of the air we breathe now. And I was trying to speak a truth that I felt needed to be said, but
truth?
to do it in as respectful and kind a way as I could.
It's not a truth. You're the one. Look, the so-called truth about people here illegally, you left half of it out, sister, and that is Lake and Riley. What did you do during George Floyd? You gave aid and comfort to people burning down buildings. It's your truth, whatever you say the truth is now. The truth is President Trump and Republicans are not going after kids and their parents and the gay, and we're anxious and the whole thing. We're simply saying you're not going to put men in women's sports. You're not going to put them in bathrooms. You're not going to continue to do this. There are two genders. That's the truth scientifically, whatever you want to say. But notice the demeanor. It's always the demeanor they get us caught up in here about Jesus and the Bible. By the way, so I don't forget, I'll include Mike Johnson in this. I don't know if we have that cut or if he just made a statement of Mike Johnson about the J6 stuff. Hey, Mike, I've had it. Don't tell me about redemption. Don't tell me as an excuse today on the January 6th people. We believe in redemption. You know what? Yeah, do we have that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen to Mike Johnson. I'm tired of it on either side. My point with J6, and we'll get to it again. Certainly, great numbers of those people, case by case, should never have been charged. Part two, those that were charged, any number of them, should have been charged with a misdemeanor. Part three, some of those that committed other offenses were overcharged, and in prison, there was an element that other prisoners didn't get of harshness. But I don't know why it's so hard to say all that, pardon them. And those that attack police,